All right, good afternoon, everybody. Happy first Friday of session. We're here once again live from ASBA World Headquarters in downtown Phoenix with my good friends Lee and Morgan. So, first week of session, not a lot happened this week, but a lot's gonna happen next week. So first of all, we're gonna talk bills. So if you saw our email yesterday, you know that the ELL bill passed out of committee this week, which we're really excited about. So look for that to have an opportunity to thank the Senate Education Committee for their work on that, and we'll keep you updated as that one moves forward. Second, Education Committee is coming up on Tuesday. Senate Ed, House Ed won't be meeting on Monday, which is Martin Luther King Day, but we're going to talk bills there for a minute. So on that first, I want to turn it over to Morgan to talk about JTEDs, or CTEDs, excuse me, and then we'll work it back. So Morgan, go ahead and tell us about CTEDs.
All right, so first up, Senate Bill 1065, like he said, CTEDs, mostly concerning fourth year funding. It is going to basically state that students in ninth grade will not receive funding for ninth grade until they are enrolled in 10th. So upon 10th grade enrollment, they will receive the funding for ninth and 10th grades. It also will state no funding will go beyond 4 years for a CTED program. And it also states as long as it is not larger than one ADM, districts and CTE districts will be able to decide their students' ADM apportionment as long as it does not exceed that 1.0 apportionment.
Yeah, so big news there. The bill will let you potentially get funding for ninth grade CTE, which is on the ASBA political agenda. Good job, legislature. We support that bill. Another couple to talk about, Senate Bill 1037, real quick. Some people saw it and freaked out about it. It does deal with Proposition 301, but it is a technical fix. I promise you, it is not a big deal, so don't worry about it. The other big thing on the agenda is Senate Bill 1080 and SCR 1001, which are a new version of Proposition 301 expansion that Senator Allen has put together. So we're still looking at those, but basically what it would do was add 1/4 to the 6/10, or 4/10 to the 6/10 for a total of 1 to get a little bit more money in the system. Obviously, ASBA is in favor of more money, but we do have some concerns about how that's structured. So we're still looking at that and working with people to figure out where we're going to be on that one. So that is that. And then finally, sorry, my nose itches. 1073 is another bill. It deals with school district consolidation elections. It's a big deal up north. There's a couple of consolidation issues going on up there. We are not supportive of the changes in Senate Bill 1073. What it would do is make it so that a majority of all the voters across a bunch of districts, or across 2 districts, would be sufficient to unify or consolidate. ASBA does not support that. We support a majority of each district involved having a fair say. So we are going to be opposed to that bill, and we will be letting everyone know that here this weekend and on Tuesday. So that's committee. Other big news today, the governor's budget came out. He released his executive proposal, and we were able to discuss that with some staff earlier. The proposal's public now, so we can talk about it with you. And to kick us off on that 2020 executive budget proposal, Lee is going to start us off with that.
So the governor's proposed budget accounts for 2% inflation, which is $164.7 million, and projects a 0.8% increase in ADM, which is $559.6 million additional. He's keeping his promises about the teacher raises in the DAA. So the additional 5% teacher raise will be $164.7 million next year, and further DAA restoration of $67.8 million. There's also an expansion of the results-based funding program. So he proposes that now A schools as well as low-income B schools will be eligible. Low income is 60% of the students are eligible for free and reduced lunch. And so that is a $59.7 million appropriation to expand that program.
Yeah, that gets us to about 951 schools total in the state eligible for results-based funding. So yeah, we'll talk more about the proposal as time goes on. But it is a substantial increase in the number of schools that are eligible. Whether or not results-based funding is a proposal that ASBA ultimately agrees with, is a point for discussion for a future time when we get closer to budget time. But for now, just know that that's in there, $60 million. And for the second or third, I guess, for the second third of this, I'm going to kick it over to Morgan. She's going to tell you a little bit more about CTE and some other things.
So, for like he mentioned, for the CTE, they are establishing a $10 million incentive program. It basically qualifies high schools to earn up to $1,000 per student that graduates under the CTE for specific programs. That'll be listed in the summary. It'll be stuff like IT, manufacturing, etc. And then also for the school safety, he did hold up his end with that as well. There's going to be $9.3 million in ongoing funding to establish more SROs on campus for everyone who kind of missed out on it in the first round of funding. And then there's also going to be $12 million allotted over the next 2 years to fund additional counselors on high school campuses. And then for some charter oversight, there's going to be $785,000 allotted to 10 additional staff members to assist with more oversight in our charter schools and increase the visits from every 5 years to every 3 years.
Glad to see additional staff in the budget for the State Board for Charter Schools. That goes some ways to help us in sort of addressing what the disparity we perceive in financial oversight is. So glad to see that. We'll be keeping an eye on that issue throughout the session as well. Last big pieces in the budget, building renewal, always a big deal. The governor is proposing an increase in building renewal to about $80 million total. So it's a difference in one-time ongoing, but the big number, top line number is he's proposing $80 million in building renewal grants for fiscal 2020. That's an increase of about $13 million, I believe, from last year. And then finally, and good job, districts. We were told that building renewal applications tripled from fiscal 13 to fiscal 18, 275 to 984. So good job making use of that money. We think that that's a good thing. And we hope to see you continue to put your applications in. The other big news on that is new school construction. The governor is proposing moving to a 3-year out award for new space as opposed to the current 1 year. We had been pushing on that for a couple of years as well, saying that it's really hard on districts to have space not approved until you're already over capacity essentially in your current schools. So with the 3-year proposal, that's some additional money for about 5 additional school districts to get new school awards this year. So we are in favor of that. And then finally, sort of miscellaneous stuff we've got here. A couple of $21 million for the Teacher Academy at the universities to help people who want to pursue an education degree graduate debt-free. And then some money for universities in terms of capital and things like that. But really, that's about it on the education front. The good thing about what you've all heard, if you didn't hear it down, you didn't take notes, that's fine. We will be sending out a brand new, and that's dumb. But we'll be sending out a summary with today's email, basically, hopefully a 2-pager front and back with all the pertinent details on the governor's budget, along with a spreadsheet, so you can see the numbers for yourself. This is just a high-level overview. So, all in all, the governor is scoring $637 million of new funding for K-12. A bunch of that is the formula stuff that's either required or passed last year, but there are still some decent investments in some K-12 areas. So, all in all, a plan that is a lot to work with. And so we hope to be able to have a productive conversation with the legislature and the governor over the next couple months to figure out where we can make the most strategic investments with the state surplus and help K-12 education. So that's the governor's plan. Look for the summary today. And other than that, I think that's pretty much it. Martin Luther King Day on Monday. ASBA sent out an email and a tweet. So if you would like to participate in the ASBA Martin Luther King Day event, march with our president, Lawrence Robinson, look on your Twitter. And it's a cleanup day of service. So down at Pilgrim's Rest Church in Phoenix. So if you want to do that, get on the ASB website, let us know. The legislature will be closed on Monday, as we mentioned, because of Martin Luther King Day. So we will pick right up on Tuesday afternoon with Education Committee in the Senate. So with that, I think we're going to enjoy these lovely cream puffs that Steve brought us. So thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you.
Bye.
Bye. Sit up straight, everybody.
Do that.
There, that's a good middle ground.
There we go.
Not all over your face, but all over the beard.
Nom, 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 nom.
Flawless execution.